Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Best Life and Beyond, and welcome back. Get ready for it. Waiting. Welcome back to What's Happening Wednesday.
It's here.
Yeah.
So this obviously is a little bit of a different format. You guys are probably like, oh my gosh, this isn't live. What's happening?
Yeah.
So for anybody who doesn't know, we used to do a live stream every Wednesday, but we have since stopped doing
Hey,
live
we used to do it
streams.
at Disneyland.
We did.
Every Wednesday.
Way back in the day.
Yeah.
Way back in the day. But that is gone. Those days are over. We figured we're still going to bring it back. We're going to talk about a plethora of topics.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about everything from Disneyland to Vegas to life and current events, answer your questions.
We've kind of done this format already. We just didn't call it What's Happening Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
We just kind of did this. I think the last time we did this video, like we were sitting at the table here.
Mm-hmm.
Same format, but it just wasn't, we didn't like slot it into the whole like What's Happening Wednesday thing. And we thought, you know what? Everybody asks, like, bring the show back, because it was kind of a little show.
Like a show.
Katie
Whenever he
Katie
says
doesn't
that, I
like
picture.
calling it that.
Well, I picture like the frog, the Warner Brothers frog. I think,
Oh,
going
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Hello, my baby."
Yeah.
That's what I'm picturing.
But so we thought perfect opportunity to kind of bring it back because we wanted to do a once a week talk thing.
Yeah, we did, and we want to there's so many different things to discuss, and then especially with us broadening our horizons outside of just Disneyland. Like we've been traveling a lot.
We've been beyonding our horizons.
We have, and so I think it's a good time we kind of took stock of like some of the stuff that's currently happening this week. So we're going to try to do this every week. It might be every other week for a little bit, or maybe it's going to start off a little slower. We have some stuff going on in our personal lives in a good way.
Oh,
and you'll learn more about that soon.
Yeah, the big teaser of this video is like, get ready for something huge. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those people who, like, I wait until I know. Even when we go on trips, she knows this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get excited until, like, I'm, like, in the car on the way to the airport. Like, I don't allow myself to because I don't want to, like, sit in that too long. I want to have that excited moment and take it right into the thing, right?
Yeah.
So same with this, where we don't want to reveal it until it's like a go, and then we can just ride the lightning all the way through.
And it's funny because it is a go, but you want to just physically and everything. I know what you're saying, and you'll get it once we tell you. Trust me.
There's a few steps that have to happen before we ride that lightning.
Yeah.
So
the lightning will be rode.
It will be
and
ridden.
And then we'll share more with you.
It has been brought in. It will be ridden anyways.
Yes. So now the difference between the live stream, obviously there's no like live chat happening, but what we can do, I did it 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I kind of did like a Q&A thing. All of you submitted so many questions.
You did it through the Best Life Instagram?
I did Best Life Instagram, Katie's Best Life Instagram. I think I did Facebook and even some on YouTube.
As much as we will be doing that, there are probably times when we won't do it, but we will be looking at your comments in the videos and picking stuff out of there because...
As well as this video.
Right. Because that's a good way to for us to get a read on what you guys are thinking or questions that you're asking and things like that. And oftentimes, since we post almost daily, it's hard to keep up with comments. So we thought this is a better way to like address some stuff.
Really focus in and
because people have these questions sometimes that are pretty deep questions or like questions that require more than just like a comment on YouTube or something like that. So
I think we're so limited on responding to comments sometimes, and then we also get a little overwhelmed because it really just is us two. We don't have
like a moderator or people who do that stuff, and that's fine
by choice.
It's all good. It's just that So
this is a one-man show.
With that said, we're gonna kind of forge forward into the thing that we've been talking about this week, and that's Magic Keys.
Yes,
back on sale.
Disneyland Magic Keys went back on sale a few days ago. Right now, as we're speaking, things could have changed by the time we're talking about this.
Oh yeah,
but
I edit fast, but I mean.
Not that fast.
Yeah.
So the Inspire and Believe keys are the only ones that are available. So for anybody who's not well versed in how the Magic Key system is, there's 4 tiers. All of them you have to pay for parking except for the top one. And the Believe key is the second under Inspire. So Inspire is the one that has the least amount of blockout days. I think it's 2 weeks or something?
The Christmas time, 2 weeks, yeah.
And then New
parking.
Year's. And then they include free parking.
Right.
All of the other ones, so like Believe is after Inspire, and that one has, I think you pay for 50% of parking, which is $35 for a regular
Which it used to be, they used to pay for parking on both tiers.
On all tiers.
On all tiers?
Sorry. And then I think you could add it. It was like a whole thing.
But I think the first two had parking.
I think so.
I don't think the second one had.
So.
I mean, I'm not a historian on that level, but anyways.
To me, to remember the numbers thing, I'm not good at that.
But here's the thing: is like, so, we've been seeing them going on sale randomly, and they make an announcement like a week before, and everybody scrambles. And the last couple times it happened, because I think it's happened twice before this, they would go for a couple of days, and they'd be like, "And that's it." Yeah. Like they'd have a small amount that they were divvying out, right?
And it was a queue.
Yeah, it was a queue. The system was really difficult.
Some people waited 8 to 10 hours, I think. Yeah,
some people got right in and boom, but some people didn't. So anyways, it's been a contentious issue for a long time. And it seems as if this time things are different. And why are they different? I think that's the main thing is I think they upgraded the system a little bit, I heard.
I definitely think they did that because they did...
Or did something to the system to make it more...
No, you're totally right. They were doing like a mobile wait list or something to that effect. We did go up to the gates one day, the day that... I think it was the second day they were on sale. And we saw some cast members and they were like helping out some people and they were like, "Oh, is it your return time to come back?" It was something to that effect, and I remember... we kind of stopped and talked to one cast member, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's going smoothly. Like we haven't had really any major issues."
So they were doing that in person at the gates. They were doing return times.
Yeah, something like that.
Because there was that one day that it started. We were there, and we saw that there was a lot of people there.
Yeah, actually, and I think that was actually something too. The second day we went, there was hardly anybody there, and we were like, "What's going on?" And I think that's why that prompted us to speak with the cast member who said, "Oh no, there's kind of like a little bit of a better system. We haven't had issues." But now that leads us to wonder. So there's two kind of things that we're going okay, so as you know, there was a Magic Key lawsuit.
Class action lawsuit.
And
it's been resolved.
But we were wondering if maybe since it's been resolved... now, is it going to be a thing where they want to try to keep passes on sale all the time? Is that what it is? Or, the other thing, because we've been reading a lot, we've been doing some research, and it sounds like it might just be a thing where people are not renewing, people are not purchasing as many as they were, because I've seen the majority is the problems with paying for parking, reservations, and then just not feeling the value is there because it's still so crowded.
I'd almost say
No, it's not in that order. Sorry, I should have said that.
Reservations may be the leading
They're the driving problem.
The leading deterrent, I would imagine.
And that being said, though, there is a small contingent of people that they go, "Oh, I read comments, and you have to see both sides because you can't." As much as I personally, and I know you agree, we hate the reservation. It is literally, it makes you want to pull your hair out. There are people, though, that do like it and say, "Well, I like knowing I'm guaranteed to get in." And while I understand that, your reservation, like, nothing can guarantee you getting into Disneyland because the fire marshal, I believe, has, like, the final say. But I think that the idea is that if they have the reservation, they know how many people are in the park, and they can cap it so that the fire marshal doesn't even have to make that call. I think.
Okay, so what you're saying, so I understand, is that from their side, they find comfort in the fact that they're guaranteed a reservation that they're going to get into the park, which I can debate that right down. I can totally debate that one down. Number two,
challenge accepted.
No, I will, but first I'm going to just kind of lay it out. The second one, they feel a comfort in the fact that they think that there is a capacity at the park that
a reduced capacity.
Yeah. Maybe similar to what it was in the beginning when it reopened and it was really empty for a while. I remember being on Main Street a couple times and there was nobody on Main Street in the middle of a day.
It does almost give you that idea, though.
It does, right. And so. Like I said, I can debate both of those down as far as the whole thing of guaranteeing a reservation, guaranteeing them there. Unless it's like Christmas, New Year's, there's a couple of days out of the year where that is potential. If you're worried that there's a day that you're going that you don't want to get blocked out because it's a capacity park, you probably don't want to be there in the first place. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. I mean, now, if you've planned a trip and you're coming from far away, what I said does not apply and it doesn't matter because you're going to go, you've planned the trip, you've spent the money to come here and all that stuff.
To be fair, a lot of people that were saying that thing is like, I've had people that I was reading comments that were saying, well, we come from way up north and it makes us feel better. So I'm like, I can get that.
I get that, but I think that's, okay, so that's the issue that I think we wanted to talk about mainly about this is because they're kind of changing the perception of what a reservation is, and it's worked on a certain amount of people because they want to say, hey, it's
a good thing.
It's for you. Yeah, you want a reserved spot.
Well, that's the Instagram post we were talking about.
That's what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
So they are now incentivizing the idea of a reservation as opposed to before it was an impedance. And it was kind of this thing, this hurdle you had to go through to access the park.
It was a star at the
right. And to be fair, it was born and spawned out of the situation because in California opening up, there were restrictions and capacities for especially places like theme parks. They had numbers they had to adhere to, and those numbers had to alter and change as things got better. But they were hard numbers, and that required a reservation system to implement that and to make that happen. Now that reservation system never went away. All those other things went away. The restrictions, all the stuff with the situation, everything, all of that stuff has now gone away. But for some reason, we are left with the system. Because why? Because they realized in doing this that they had more control over market research, staffing. There's a couple areas in which
they could give us now the bare minimum, and I think that's where this is all a big problem. And again, that kind of goes back to the reason we brought this topic up. Do you think, and please comment below and let us know, do you think that the fact that the Magic Keys are still on sale, it's been over a week, do you think it is because, they're just kind of like letting it go, because the lawsuit's over? Which, again, I kind of think that's not the case because
I think the lawsuit
if you have a reservation-based, annual pass, you would think that would tell me like, there should be like a cap on how many you sell.
Yeah.
Or do you think it really is that people are just less interested in renewing, buying passes? How do you feel about that? So let us know because, like Spence alluded to earlier, that Instagram post was like absolutely wild. We were like, what the heck? Like the number one benefit they posted, and maybe it wasn't in any order to be fair, but one of the benefits was a reservation system.
A reservation-based system.
I thought I was in the Twilight Zone. Maybe they're bringing back Tower of Terror.
Dude, it's genius marketing. It's genius marketing to where you take the thing that's hurting you the most and make it the thing that's going to try to benefit you the most. It's like,
although it's funny though, if you I read through a lot of the comments, and in fact I left some I was like, what?
Now a place where you don't need a reservation.
Downtown Disney.
Downtown Disney.
We wanted to talk because first of all, there's a ton of construction going on there, tons of changes, and everything seems to be changing like by the minute. By the time we had already talked about everything, I looked and I'm like, oh my gosh, Wonderground Gallery's now closed down for some sort of a refurbishment. What's happening there? We don't know.
Yeah, Wonderground seems to always get the shove around over there at Downtown Disney. They've been moved and shoved around so many times, and
I have this fantasy that they're going to bring back the vault. Does anybody remember the vault?
If you
cool. Remember the vault,
comment
below. I would love to see that come back.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of construction. I feel like that's kind of obvious, and we try to cover that a lot in our updates. But something I think I'm the most excited for, and I guess this says a lot about who I am as a person, possibly you as well, Salt and Straw. As you know, the line was so long in our last video, we couldn't get down there to do it.
And we couldn't even use our hack of just like, all right, we'll just suck it up and buy a pint.
Because they were sold out.
And they were sold out of pints.
Well, not all the pints. They were sold out of the pints
ones that we
of
wanted.
The cereal series.
Yeah.
So that's what we wanted to talk about is the cereal series. I guess it's like National Cereal Month, or I don't know, or there's Cereal Day.
And it's technically called the Seriously Delicious series which I can appreciate that. A little play on words there. But there's some good ones here, right? Some returning and some new ones.
Yeah, so the idea is we wanted to really go and try those, but we couldn't. So I wanted to just say I will get there before it is over. Yeah. Let me just tell you the 3 flavors in case you didn't see that video. Number 1, we have Pots of Golden Rainbow.
That's a fine thing.
Okay, that's returning, and that is Lucky Charms, basically. They just don't really say that, I think maybe because of like branding.
They're
or something.
magically delicious.
The next one is a vegan option. I'm sorry, there's 4. The next one is a vegan option, and that's the Off Limits Zombie cereal, which, again, it is vegan, and it is a coconut and pandan cereal, which I think we had one very similar to this, possibly in fall.
I remember, because I remember the word and having to
it was
not
really
pronounce the word.
Good. It was really good. So I feel like this is going to be, sometimes the vegan options I don't really care for, but I feel like this is going to be a winner. The next one is the Corn Flakes Gone Rogue, and that's the Marionberry jam with that like buttery cornflake. Like, you know that's going to be good. Yep. You know that's going to be good. Then they have Peanut Butter Brownie Cereal Puffs, which is basically Reese's Puffs in a cereal form that is in ice cream. Like, I'm not even the biggest peanut butter fan, but Reese's Puffs cereal.
Does it make you want to just go buy some cereal and ice cream and just start making concoctions?
Honestly, I do, but the thing is, though, is nobody I think can make ice cream as well as Salt and Straw.
Yeah, they have good ice cream. Yeah,
I know there's a place in Vegas that apparently is really good too. I think it's like Vegas Starfish talks about it all the time. She's always like, there's the highest butter fat, and I'm like, I need that butter fat.
That's why the Haagen-Dazs tastes so good usually, because they have a lot of butter fat in their ice cream, I believe.
I don't know. I never was a big fan.
It's like creamier and richer than most. I think. I mean, Haagen-Dazs is like the coffee and or the vanilla. It's just so rich.
I was never a big Haagen-Dazs fan.
I think it was a generational thing because Haagen-Dazs, I can't even pronounce it. It was pushed in the 80s pretty hard, and and then a ton of companies like Ben and Jerry's came along and tried to kind of stole their thunder a little bit. So
I like Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah, see, that was more your generation.
Yeah. I was the thunder that stole, and I love that.
Yeah, you're the rocket rods to my People Mover.
Hey, I love both attractions. I would still prefer the People Mover.
Yeah.
But I also appreciated the greatness that was the rocket rods. Like, it was.
You got chocolate in my peanut butter.
There you go. Okay, so now we're going to jump over to DCA.
We're going to park hop.
Yeah, we're park hopping. Is it after 11? Hold on, let me check. Oh, no, it's only 9 o'clock.
It's only 9 o'clock. We can't go. Oh, wait, is it? It's not blistering 115 degrees yet. We can't cross the Gobi Desert yet. So that's the Esplanade.
Can you guys tell that we're jaded a bit? I think
we're not jaded. We're just experienced.
I am. Well, no, I know, but I'm annoyed with the whole park hopping thing. Why do we have to wait till 11 to park hop? Sorry, this isn't a negative thing, but here I am flowing on that. Okay. Regarding DCA, we did food and wine.
Yeah, we did.
The first little tasting, if you will, pun intended there.
Yeah.
What did you think about it so far?
I liked it. When you start off, I think we started off with mac and cheese. Am I right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, how could it go wrong for me?
Yeah.
But yeah, so far, I think the ratio of things that I liked to things I didn't like was really good.
And maybe that's because we started off with, like, this first video. I think we really tried to go for things that we kind of knew that would be a little bit better that we liked.
Yeah.
Either we liked it in the past or it's just stuff
we didn't take any risks.
To our palate. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think our next video will try and take more risks. Not that there's a massive pool of stuff to choose from, but there was one thing I noticed, and I was watching Dylan's video, and I think that they were talking about when they were eating the barbecue mac and cheese, it was pointed out that, like, it's good mac and cheese, it's good barbecue, but is it this, like, special thing at a food and wine festival? And that was something I started thinking about. I'm like, because I'm just like, oh, okay, well, we really liked it because it's we are kind of down with the basic, I guess, if you will. So it is kind of something I was thinking about in the back of my mind after I saw that on his video of, like, you kind of almost want something a little, like, special, something you can't get all the time or anywhere, but maybe that's not what they're going for at Food and Wine. I think
it's a balance. I think it's a balance in between the two because at the end of the day, it's still a theme park.
And they want to appeal to...
Yeah, and they can't... you can't I feel like you can't curate it to like somebody who'd be going up to like Paso Robles to a winery and is going to try some cheese and some interesting charcuterie items.
I do just think that they could have done a little bit something like, what if it was a different form of cheese? Like throw something like pretty. It is nuts about cheese. Like where was a little bit of creativity in that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
It brought up a really good debate.
I hear you. I contrast it with like saying like when you go over to Disneyland and there's special foods for certain times or whatever. Let's just say that they do, I think at Coke Corner, they do a thing with like a chili bowl with mac and cheese or something like that.
Yeah.
And all that is they're just combining stuff they already have, so to speak, right? So you got your basic mac and cheese, which is just kind of very basic, the Disneyland mac and cheese.
Yeah.
And then you've got their chili, which is not too bad. And then a bread bowl, and they just lump them together and be like, oh, look at this new thing we came up with. And so I compare that to Food and Wine and go, okay, so they definitely up it from that.
A little bit, I guess.
I think it's upped from that a little bit. I don't know how far, though. I feel like that distance is kind of shrinking a little bit. But that's where I kind of compare it to, because like I said, it's like corn dog compared to like, they're trying to do something.
Yeah, I guess, and it's difficult. It's a theme park, we get it.
Yeah.
But something I did notice, it felt like there were less booths this year and less food offerings. So I decided to take a little look back now. If I'm not mistaken, and again, I did the best I could. It looks like back in 2019 there were 14 booths.
Okay.
Back in 2022, there were 13.
Okay.
2023, there were 12.
Oh, boy.
This year, there are 10. Again, if I'm not, I might be off by one or two.
So they were scaling back, and then boom, 2 this year.
You guys can, of course, double check.
Well,
maybe you can do that research a little better than I can.
I can tell you for sure, Avocado Time has become a photo op.
Yeah, like how sad is that? Same thing. And where's artichoke? I loved the artichoke thing.
Yeah.
And I remember the berry patch thing. Like there was like a berry, there was just so much more. Also, I believe that the what do you call it? The sip and savor passes.
Yeah.
There were in 2023 it was $59 for 8 tabs. And then if you had a Magic Key it was $54. This year it's $61. And then it is $56 with your Magic Key. So, I don't know. It's a little disheartening.
You could say inflation and all that. But still.
It's just what the theme has been with Disney lately has been, and that's why we sound like a broken record and it gets in, like, do you think we enjoy saying it? We don't. It stinks to have to say stuff like that. But
it's just, you have to observe it and kind of rationalize it a little bit and go like, okay, here's what's happening.
Yeah.
Just so
we're here to deliver you the news, and I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. We love Disney a lot,
and she likes sugar, so
yes, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. I'm not going to tell you something that ain't true.
Right.
So another thing that was noticed in DCA that's kind of pretty big news that we haven't even seen in person yet, the new turnstiles.
Yeah. So these were turnstiles that already exist in Paris.
I believe, yeah. I think, every park has something electronic-y.
And I believe one of the other overseas parks. Anyways, it's at the gate, and it is a it's like a...
automated.
Yeah, like a little...
Or like, I think it's like that.
Is it like that? Yeah, whatever.
Something
it's an automated opening type of thing.
That you can like scan your Magic Band or your ticket or phone, I believe.
Right. So... what does that mean? How does that affect us as consumers, as park goers? It possibly for people that are Magic Key holders that have passes, who are how like people are quicker when they have passes because they know the drill. They have their pass ready.
Yeah.
Their photo's already been taken in the system, so they don't have to have a photo taken. And just a faster thing, maybe it'll benefit that.
Might speed up that process.
But the thing I wonder about. Is the idea and the goal of this to eliminate cast members?
They're not going to eliminate them because in between them there's a cast member.
Okay.
But do I think it's going to shrink the amount of cast members?
Well, that's kind of what I meant.
Possibly.
Yeah, so there'll still be cast members there, but there will be positions eliminated because of it.
I think we can't
when
say
I
for sure.
I say that,
but,
here's what when I say that, I mean a position there. Now, does that mean that they could move those people somewhere else? Mm-hmm. Sure. But I'm just saying that position itself, not the person,
scanning tickets,
it will be eliminated, you know?
Yeah. Because it looks like it would have... You'd have two of those, from what we're looking, again, this is something, we haven't gone to the Paris park, so I don't know. Would it used to be where it was one person per booth scanning? Is it one person per two things? I don't know. Maybe they'll have one person there at the little in-between of the booth, and then maybe a backup person, so then there really is no changes to less cast members.
Yeah.
But for argument's sake, let's say that there are going to be less cast members at those things, and they really are cutting it by half. My thought was, why don't you take those half and put them in to make a more efficient security system?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because our security process to get into Disneyland is of the Stone Ages, and it's like, to my opinion, I don't think it's as safe, to be honest. Well, I think going through that metal detector and having your bag go through, like over at Universal, even Knott's. I think Dylan always tells us he's a theme park person. He goes to theme parks all over the world, and he's like, Disney is the only one that's the least efficient. Disneyland is the one that's the least efficient. So it makes me wonder, if that was the case, would they maybe start taking those casts and going, hey, let's make this more efficient?
You would hope. It also makes me think that, why didn't we upgrade the security system before we did the trial of these new entry gates? I feel like security is a little more important than that. And
Truly.
And based on what you said, our system is archaic and it's not efficient. Mm-hmm. Which is almost it's the same thing, archaic and not efficient, right? But it's I don't know why we can't have the same system that they have in Florida or that they have at Universal, and it seems more of a fail-safe, like you said. Now I have to no disrespect to any human, but when it comes to, like, a bag search, and then hopefully they got everything and saw everything, but that bag now is going to go on the other side of the mag when you walk through, because it's been checked, right?
Right.
Now,
there's human error is what you're talking about.
Correct, and I'm not slamming anybody who does that job. It's a very hard job.
It's general human error.
Yeah. I'm just saying we're all fallible, me included. So I don't know. It just seems like those other ones are newer, so it would mean every bag has to go through a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways.
I definitely agree with you that, like...
What do you guys think?
What's the priority here? Like, I would rather see the priority going into security and safety way more than that's how it is.
Gate efficiency. I feel like it's kind of novelty, and it's kind of like a gimmick, like, ooh, look at this new flashy thing we have.
Maybe. I don't know. Okay, so... moving forward, that's where we're jumping.
We're going through the gates now.
To Disneyland Forward. That's something
I see what you
that,
did. Okay.
So that's something we wanted to chat quickly and briefly about, because, listen, you heard us just talk for probably 30 minutes about a theme park. We love it, clearly. However, when it comes to all of the Disney Forward stuff, that's not something we sit and research.
We're not Civic Planning Commission experts.
We don't know anything about it.
And when it comes to that stuff, the process is arduous and long, and they're amidst confusing. It. Even just the approval process is long and arduous, and that's what it's in the midst of right now. And there was something that just passed last week or something that everybody got excited about, but all it meant was, like, it's the next step of approval got okayed to get, now it's going to get here.
Yeah.
So there's a long road, and hey, it's moving forward, but it's like a little snail.
And so, if you're not sure of what Disneyland Forward is, it's basically a form of expansion for our parks. Maybe that means hotels, maybe another form of, like, another gate or a park.
Right.
So you kind of have to do your own research on that, because I don't want to sit here and tell you stuff and confuse you worse.
No.
There is another thing that I did want to touch on, kind of in that avenue, was Bob Iger. I think he was at, again, something, and he said, oh, well, we're going to do another Avatar Land.
Avatar Land at Disneyland.
Yeah, at Disneyland. And
just like throwing it around.
Again, I've been bringing up Dylan a million times, but when we're in the theme park space, we have to give credit where credit is due. He knows what he's talking about. He travels these theme parks. He's theme park obsessed, okay? So he made a video talking about Bob Iger and the executives like Josh D'Amaro talking about this blue sky thing, and that kind of falls in that category. Blue sky meaning, like, planning, thinking, dreaming, right?
Oh, it's Blue Sky is literally like, hey, it'd be cool is if we put like another Matterhorn like over by like Toontown and they connected them with a gondola. That'd be a trip, right? Well, it's just the brainstorming process.
Okay. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just throwing stuff at the wall, see if it sticks. Somebody else goes, oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Then we could do it like this. Oh yeah, and it just bounces around,
right.
and it's some of it never makes. It's like pipe dream stuff.
Yeah.
And it's stuff that we should never ever hear about. It shouldn't leave those rooms.
Yeah,
it's
it kind of gets you excited. Yeah, we should hear more about the concrete plans.
Yeah. When you guys come up with it, let us know.
This was a good thing, though, because Dylan had talked about, he's like, we're kind of tired of hearing about stuff that, like, is so non-concrete. And the best thing he said was, what about that Avengers e-ticket attraction that was supposed to be done? Where is that?
Yeah, did you guys forget about that? Or
what happened there? Like, and I hate, this sounds bad, but I don't really care too much personally as a Disneyland person who goes all the time. It's not my big thing. I'm not super stoked about it because A, I get motion sickness, and B, I'm not, Marvel Avengers, it's not my real thing, but it is for a lot of people. And so he brought up that point, like, you're talking about this Avatar land, but then you haven't even committed to what you said you were going to do. And again, playing devil's advocate, we've done that before. Like, we had every intention of doing that video where you went and talked to the college thing, and it didn't fit, it didn't work, so we just didn't do it. And so I don't fault people completely for that, but I think when you're a billion-dollar company and you're all of this, you need to stick with what you're going to do. And I'm hoping that at D23 they actually have concrete plans. You see things.
They have to kind of, it's at the point
they really need to redeem themselves.
Yeah, they need to follow through with something.
Right.
And not just go, hey, we're going to have a new meet and greet and
what's
whatever.
Beyond Big Thunder?
Yeah,
and
what's Beyond Big Thunder? Like, where'd that go?
That's a good one you just brought up. What happened to that? They brought out the woo-woo, what is it?
The Hulk in the costume.
The Hulk in the costume. What happened to that?
Yeah.
That was a big thing.
I think it got shipped out to Hong Kong or something. They
Probably.
used it up there. Who knows? I could be completely wrong. But
anyway,
it's like, I'm sure that when you compare a budget for a new costume character to a new attraction or anything new, it's just, that's what they're doing. They're going, oh yeah, it only costs this much to do that. That's what we'll announce. We'll have them walk out on stage at D23. Everybody will go
Get
crazy.
Get people stoked. Speaking of D23, that's when we were first kind of introduced to Wondrous Journeys, the fireworks show. And a cool thing is, it is coming back on March 22nd. Now, I'm curious, I have to double check, is it just the Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing again, or are you going to just keep it around? But I have to say, Wondrous Journeys is a fabulous fireworks show. It, I think, is one of those things that was a success to come out of D23. Even at the time, the way they kind of presented it, I was kind of like, not really too stoked on it.
Yeah, well, when they presented that song in its raw form, none of us could see it.
Yeah,
how is this going to fit into what we are used to as a Disney entertainment thing?
Yeah.
But guess what? It totally worked, and we were
so good.
I was wrong about that. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's a really good show, though. We've grown to really love it, and I think it's touching.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what it is for that fireworks show. It's touching. It really pulls on your heartstrings.
Here's what it does in its form, and it's so genius, and that's why it works, is it starts off, it gets real quiet, right?
Yeah.
And it starts off, and it because it's the simplicity of how the company started. Mm-hmm. With they're drawing the mouse. There it is.
Snow White.
All started with the mouse, and then so it's soft and it's builds into what the company becomes, but that draws your attention because you're like, what's going on? And then it builds, and it goes crazy, and we celebrate, and then at the end it brings you back into that point.
I got the chills with you saying that. I got the chills. I literally got chills.
Yeah, it's very well constructed, and the music's great, and it honors the legacy of the stuff that we care about, Mm-hmm. So that was a win, and I think we should probably try to find more wins because we do criticize a lot of stuff, but rightfully so. But that one was a win that they deserve credit for. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about the time change.
It's so random. You're probably like, okay, we've heard enough about it.
Now we're going to talk about
daylight savings.
Right, underwater basket weaving. No, so we. I should say, am very happy that the time has entered the daylight savings pattern, the spring forward. Mm-hmm. This is the one I'd like to stay in. Mm-hmm. When we get to fall, just don't change it because the days are going to get shorter anyways. So it's nice. It's a little weird, waking up at 6:30 and it's pitch black. But when it's, staying late, it's like, man, you can go sit outside for the last couple hours of the day and you've already finished things. Because a lot of times I finish my work at like anywhere from 3 to 5 o'clock. And when the days are getting shorter, those are those hours where I'm watching the clock and I'm trying to finish work and I'm like, hey, I want to get outside for a minute, and I'm looking and it's like 5:30 and it's like, it's done. Yeah. And I get so bummed. So now it's like, 5:30, 6. I still got like, dude, I almost got 2 hours left.
You have Spencer has SAD. Seasonal affective disorder is what it's called.
Yeah, I don't.
You get the SADS.
Yeah, I don't.
He looks up to the heavens like when I was saying that, you're like this. Yeah, but it's true though. It's been proven to like mess with like your cardiac stuff. It is for real. Like there's days when that time change happens, there are days where Spencer will literally go 3 to 5 days without a normal sleeping more than like 3 hours.
Throws me so off.
It messes with him. We've done a lot of things, and it seems like it's getting worse like as the years go by. Yeah. So, that being said, it's just so nice that it's back. Even I'm kind of okay on both sides. It doesn't affect me, but I'm happy
I'm an endless summer guy. That's it. I should probably just follow the summer around the world when that happens, and that's
maybe
what they did.
Maybe that'll be our next wondrous journeys.
Just jump to the southern hemisphere and. Jimmy Buffett that thing. I don't know. I like winter and I love snow and mountains and all that stuff, but those short days, man, it's hard. It's pretty dark.
And people keep saying like, didn't we vote to like get rid of this? But I think like there's some other stuff. I don't know.
Anyways, it's back. So
all right. And another situation we wanted to chat about is
the situation.
The situation.
It's the anniversary
of the day Disney closed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I think for us, though, we just look at this date of Disneyland closing. It did, like, change everything.
Oh my gosh.
Every single thing changed that hasn't come back. But with change of bad, we did have some good change that came out of it. And I think for us, one of the best changes was Home is Where the Vlog Is was born. It challenged us to really... find other ways to express ourselves and to connect with people in the only safe way that we could at the time.
It's really weird.
And I'm thankful for that in a weird way.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's one of those examples of being kind of backed up into a corner and not having really, like, what do we do? Like, what are we going to do? And that came out of it. And I think that's why... we feel so strongly about doing other content too, is like, it just seemed like we kind of found ourselves in that. And we also got to spend so much time with Binky that we probably wouldn't have spent because we wouldn't have been home that much.
Yeah. That picture right there is from... Yeah.
And those were her like final times there, so yeah, it's weird that there was takeaways that were silver linings, you know what I mean? There were. And I don't know that everybody had that.
And if you did, tell us below, leave a comment, what was your hardest thing that changed forever that never came back? And then tell us something that, if you had some, what were the silver linings for you? We find those. And you don't have to. If you don't feel like there was any silver linings and you're still angry about it, feel okay to feel angry about it. We're not telling you to be toxic positivity up in here.
We're just trying to kind of express that there, our it's like we're trying to express our take on it of gratitude in that we're grateful that we're alive. We're grateful that we were able to continue to do our thing throughout that in a just a totally different form, but we had to adjust like everybody did. So,
and we actually learned a lot. I think it was a time where I think even up until... I mean, you're always learning lessons in your life. I think for anybody to think that we are perfect individuals or that we're anything other than that is totally just wrong. I make mistakes all the time. You make mistakes all the time.
No, I know.
But I think you're all... Even when I'm wrong, I'm right.
Yeah.
I think the thing that did come out of that was it helped me to learn, oh, I made a mistake here. Oh, I made a mistake here.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing that came out of it, is it helped with self-reflection, I think. And there was a lot of trivial things going on in the world and in social media. And I think especially with us and our channel over the past 3 years, we've gone through the most amount of change I've ever could have foreseen. And I don't regret any of it. Like, I really don't. I'm glad that mistakes were made.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad that, because now how do you know? Like, you're able to look back and go, oh my gosh, thank goodness I was taught that lesson.
Yeah.
Because now I know going forward in my life, that's not a mistake I'm going to make again. And if I do, that's life.
Yeah, and if you think about it like that, that's where it all changed. Like, we were kind of just cruising along, both, doing our regular jobs and doing the Disney thing on the side. And then I don't think we saw too far ahead of that. We just were like kind of focused on what we were doing. And we were like, this is what we do. And I'd leave Burbank, Warner Brothers at 5 o'clock at night and drive down to Disneyland, shoot a video with Katie, or shoot What's Happening Wednesday. I mean, when I say we used to do this show at Disneyland, it was live and it was every week, and we didn't miss one. And if we did, it was just me missing it because I lived an hour and a half away and she would cover it.
That was back when there was no other, like, there was Periscope, but there was no other, like, Instagram didn't even have live stream. There was no TikTok. There was nothing. And even before that, we were doing videos. There was no live streaming on YouTube. No. Nothing. No. So it's just crazy to think about that. But you just brought that up for me.
But even when we started doing it, you know how, like, everybody, a lot of people do a weekly live stream now, right? Yeah. But we did ours in the park because we thought, wow, we could bring the park to people and bring them some information. We didn't realize what a commitment that was. And I'm telling you, there was times where even Katie would go, you know what time are you off of work? I'm like, I don't know, we're not done yet. And I'm like, I can still make it down there. We can do this. We'll just do the show an hour later. And she goes, dude, just don't. I'd say, no, we have to do this. We have a commitment to this thing and we're going to do it. And I would, like, go out of my way to, get down there no matter what, sit in traffic, do the show. And the show would exhaust me because I wasn't used to putting out energy as a person on camera or whatever. But I just it was a commitment. So it's crazy that we're doing the show again, and it's different, but it's not. It's we've just the world has changed, and so our format also had to change. Yeah. We also are doing, like we said before, about questions and stuff. We'll try to pick some for each episode. If we don't have, like, a topic that we kind of sent out there, or like that you guys were sending us, we could just kind of go through a few questions that we saw. Hey, there were some interesting questions this week, some of the videos, whatever. So we'll do rapid fire or whatever. We also wanted to thank you guys for being so supportive and watching all the Beyond videos. This is it's kind of the stuff that we're going to be doing in our normal lives that we just are covering at the same time. So the fact that you guys like it and are interested in it, we've seen the interest. It's like, we're really grateful. It's insane. Yeah,
it was kind of weird. It turned a little bit in a weird way. And again, you can't please everyone. It was really interesting when we've had people say, you're doing a little too much Disney here. And I was like, wait, what? Like, we used to get the complete opposite. Right. So we just wanted to extend a huge, thing of gratitude of, like, dude, thank you for appreciating that and loving it as much, and, allowing us to be our authentic self. Like, just allowing that and exploring with us. There's a lot of locals who are finding stuff that they've never thought before, and I think that's the fun part of social media is, like, we're finding stuff we didn't know about.
People in their own towns, like, will say, wait, you came to my town, I didn't know, and I didn't even know that was there. Or whatever.
And then there's people that are coming from across the country, or they're coming from, wherever, a whole state away, and they're like, I love that after, on a day I can't get a reservation, I know about a place I can go that's within 20 minutes of the park, or an hour of the park that's maybe not Universal Studios.
Especially
like,
if
whatever.
Like she said, if you're from out of state and you come from somewhere that's like a frozen tundra this time of year, and you come out here and you can't get in the park, there's so many other things because you're in SoCal, it's beautiful weather and the beach and all that stuff. So we appreciate it, and we just wanted to say a big thank you. And then speaking of going, like, kind of beyond and doing other content, we've really been increasing the Vegas content. And I promise we would have been there. We were actually supposed to go with Dylan and Michael on this trip, but as we alluded to in the beginning of this video, some other things are going on in our personal life. Again, good stuff. You will know, but it kind of hindered us, and we couldn't make it. Because to be fair with the Vegas thing, we were our goal was at the minimum to try to be up there once a month. And that obviously, what was it, January, February, we went 3 times.
Yeah. So
it just depends.
Yeah,
but
the point is, though, we would have gone in February, I think it was February, whatever.
No,
March. Yeah, we would have gone for the end of February, March trip, but we just couldn't make it because of that.
Yeah.
But we do have an April trip already planned, so I promise we'll get back. It's just, you got to take care of this stuff first. It's just one of those things. We had no choice. But things in Vegas, oh my gosh, like constantly Vegas, new stuff.
Yeah.
We wanted to check out the SpongeBob ride, even though it's just, whatever. The craziest thing was, first of all, Dylan covered it, so check out his channel if you want to see it. But they were originally charging, hold on, I wrote it down. It was $20 for one ride for one person. Then, I think like 2 or 3 days later, they dropped it down to $12.98 per person, or you can do 2 rides for $19.48. What?
Yeah.
Either way, that's like, that's pretty crazy, but I think it's a little bit more value because, man, I didn't realize the Adventure Dome is like, what, $60? Like, and you can't just do an individual ride because, like, there's a lot I wouldn't do, but there's also, like, one thing I would do. I wish that was an individual thing. So I wonder if this is going to help them to see that and make that change.
Yeah, I think the problem with Vegas when it comes to the theme parky type of stuff and comparing it to what we know and all that, they're on a different scale because everything in Vegas is like $100 almost. It's like when you go to
it feels
Costco,
like it,
right?
yeah.
So entertainment-wise, in their eyes, how long is a ride? A couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Right? A couple of minutes worth of entertainment to them, like if you pull up to a slot machine with $20, you're going to be there for a couple of minutes. Most likely. So you could win. Trust me, it's happened. It's happened to me.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you put in $20, you're going to be entertained for a couple of minutes, and that's going to be it. And that's kind of the value system.
So maybe that's what they did.
So I kind of see it like that. Like they see it as like, well, how much does the roller coaster cost, over there? And it's all based on all the other things there. And then maybe
like throw in their investment and then how much they,
And how many people are going to ride the thing per day, compared to like if that thing was at Universal, it would get ridden all day long, multiple days every day, right? This thing, someday you could have 20 people show up to ride it. Someday it could be maxed out because there's a wedding party that wanted to come, or so. I don't, until it catches on, it's just I don't know. That's my take.
So speaking of catching on, something else that is going to be pretty new, and it seems like they're moving forward, is the train from Rancho Cucamonga.
Yeah, the Bright Line.
They announced a price. It's going to cost $400. It's a tricky thing because we drive there. It takes us about 3.5 hours to get there for a lot less with gas. We have a smaller car, obviously.
Because that station is right at the base of the Cajon Pass before you go through, if you understand that Vegas drive. So, and to get to the pass, what does it take us? 45 minutes, an hour to get to the pass from here, maybe?
Yeah, I'd say about 40 minutes.
Yeah. And it's an hour from LA too. But you can take, I think what the deal is you can take Metro links and all that kind of stuff to get to Rancho Cucamonga from LA.
Oh.
That's the thing. And maybe they'll eventually stretch it there, but
I like having my car in Vegas. That's another reason we don't fly a lot too, because we like having our cars. I mean, I guess everybody has to outweigh the benefits and whatever. But I do think you were saying when we were talking about this, you're like, I bet you the airlines were like, dude, you can't undercut us that much.
Well, I think the state, in a sense, protects them too, as far as like when it comes to transportation.
The next thing we want to talk about is the stadium thing, the Armadillo.
Yeah. So the Tropicana over there in Las Vegas, if you don't know, has been it's got a date for demolition, and the company that bought the property is building the stadium for the Oakland A's. They released the concept art, and it's
I said concert hall. I was thinking of like the thing out in Australia because it reminds me of that.
Oh, it looks like the.
Is that a concert hall?
It's an opera house.
Opera house.
It's
wow,
similar,
Katie.
It's similar to the opera house in Australia because it's kind of armadillo shaped with like the shells are staggered or whatever.
What do you think of the look of that?
It's pretty neat. Honestly, if you're going to do something like that in Vegas, you better come with that kind of cool design that's like, whoa, like when you're coming over the hill, the first view that we always like, Katie will play Viva Las Vegas when you first get over the hill on the drive coming in, you see Vegas. In the old days, it used to be so dark everywhere that glow when you'd come over that hill, if it was nighttime, it was like so amazing. It's changed a little, but now you're going to see that stadium because it looked like it was white and it obviously to reflect the sun.
I was happy to see it because when I originally saw just the baseball field, like a stadium, I was like, that does not give me Vegas vibes. So at least that covering of that, and then I think you were bringing it up too, is like, it's hot in Vegas. I guess I tend to forget that like it gets to be like 115, like 100, it's hot. So you would want to have something like that.
Yeah. And I mean, my only thing is, I feel like you know how Allegiant Stadium is on the other side of the freeway? It's like out a little bit. I feel like the stadium needs to be out a little bit. I feel like
Do you think they might still push it back a little bit? I mean, I don't know the area.
It'll probably push back on the property a hair. Because the property, I don't know how big it is, but
I don't know exactly like what's behind it very well.
It's going to be. They're talking that it's going to be multi-use too. I think. Anyways, it's going to change that Four Corners area. That's what we always called that area, Four Corners, because you had hotels on all four corners that were solid. It's going to really affect that whole area when there's games.
Jeez. Between that and then the Allegiant Stadium and then the
Vegas Knights.
The Knights.
So it's almost like a sports district right there now.
That's going to be huge.
And I wonder maybe it is. See, I don't know about civic stuff, but maybe it's zoned for that's where if you're going to do a stadium and stuff, that's where it's going to be.
Zoned, yeah.
But yeah, so big stuff happening out there. Obviously, the Universal Halloween Horror Nights thing is moving along over there at Area 15. That's going to be interesting. That'll be another price point that'll probably shock everybody because it has to adjust to Vegas standards and not Universal standards. I'm assuming, but we'll see. I'm curious to see what that.
I am too.
What that's
really
going to be
curious.
And what the experience is. Is it multiple walkthroughs? I haven't done a lot of research. There's probably information out there that we don't know. But if you know anything, let us know in the comments. We're just kind of enthusiasts that kind of go along. Like I said, we don't look too deep into things.
We're just there to have fun.
Yeah,
and I hope that reads for you. Anyway, so going forward, what we're going to try to do on some of these is kind of answer questions like rapid fire Q&A type things. But I think we've talked so much today.
Yeah.
So we're going to not do that this week, but again, we'll kind of feel it out and go as we go, and I hope you guys have enjoyed hearing us flap our gums about all this stuff. We did a lot of Disney, and again, we're trying to be just truthful about how we feel. And I wish it wasn't, and I said this in our last time we did this video, I wish it wasn't the case where we had to say this stuff and look a little bit more on the... To see, it's like talking about the negative stuff that's happening at Disney.
Well,
I hate that I have to do that. It makes me mad.
Well, here's what it is, though. If you've ever taken an art class, there's a thing called critique, and you put your artwork up in front of the whole class, and everybody says what they feel about it, and you are encouraged to critique. Like, no, if you don't like it and you think that looks like a pile of, you know what, then you say it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't help that person to candy coat anything. It doesn't help them to grow or correct maybe mistakes or areas that should be improved. Same thing with the theme park stuff. It's a critique. That's all it is. It doesn't mean that, I'm never going back there again. How dare they? It's like, no, it's just a critique of this could do better.
And
and we're the consumers. We are the consumers.
I wanted to say something about that is that I would rather us tell you as people who are there 2 and 3 times a week regularly as somebody who grew up in the park for myself.
Who pays for all their own stuff.
Yeah, and going weekly. I mean, we're not on any kind of a Disney media list, and we're never going to do that even if that was approached because... you're not going to get that same experience. And they're going to tell you, oh, you need to be you need to like this. Like, no, I don't, because I want to set you up for reality.
Yeah.
And I would rather be the person to share that with you.
And not toe the line.
Yeah. So, that being said, thank you again. I'm going to say it again. Thank you for allowing us to be our authentic selves. Thank you for allowing us to share with you the truth of how we feel. And for sticking with us and subscribing and just turning on our videos. The bare minimum, we appreciate that so much. You have no idea how much it means to us.
That's right. And we appreciate our Patreons. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. This has been What's Happening Wednesday. It's back. Oh, yeah. Bye-bye, everybody.